Good morning, everyone, and
Good
welcome to
morning.
Good
Coffee with the
morning.
Collective. Today we have
Good
the
morning.
beautiful Zara Tromness. She is an accredited practicing dietitian and an active member of the College of Dietitians of British Columbia. Zara has been a dietitian for over 10 years, and her experience includes teaching, conducting clinical research, and presenting at various nutrition workshops. Welcome, Zara. We're so happy that you're here with us today.
Welcome.
You beautiful lady.
Good
Yeah,
morning.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I am very excited to meet you as a fellow nutritionist. It's a little different, I think, than being a dietitian, but I just love talking to other practitioners who are inspired and have studied nutrition. It's just really cool to connect. So welcome. And why don't we just jump right into it, Zara, and maybe you could explain to the rest of the group a little bit more about, what it is that you do and who it is that you're helping. That'd be great.
Yeah. Thank you again. I'm also very much looking forward to get to know all of you better. And yeah, Sarah, I share the same thing. I think we can do so much with nutrition. After I graduated, I started working in the hospital setting. So with a range of different types of diseases, whether people had diabetes, autoimmune disorders, hormonal imbalances, thyroid complications, and of course, gastrointestinal disorders, and which was wonderful. That gave me a really broad range of experience in different areas where dietitians and nutritionists can really help now. The focus of my online private practice is digestive health, functional gut disorders, including irritable bowel syndrome, gluten-related disorders, and inflammatory bowel diseases. However, I have recent experience working with patients living with cancer undergoing surgery at an organization called Inspire Health. I'd say I consider myself a medical nutrition therapist, and I am convinced that there is no cookie cutter approach when it comes to nutrition. And this foundational belief informs and guides the way I support my clients. At the Gut Loving Dietitian, I try at least to offer personalized nutrition care. I try to get to know the specific needs of my clients and ensure they feel empowered each step of the way through a holistic and integrative process. You may have heard about it, maybe you, Sarah, specifically, all three of you, that I use biopsychosocial model, basically considering biological for the bio aspect, psychological, and that would encompass thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Yes. And of course, the social factors that play a role in human development and functioning and ultimately well-being. I really like this approach and I find it very helpful to evaluate the interaction among environmental and lifestyle factors to develop a personalized nutrition intervention to support, because I believe like we each have a unique expression of health and well-being. Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Exactly.
Sarah, that's beautiful.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
And I'm totally on board with that. And that is something as a hypnotherapist, I also practice exactly that. Yeah. Yeah. Really, the integration is so important. Beautiful.
I think, a lot of practitioners are very open to that and understand the integrative model. And that's why, what we're trying to do here with the collective is, getting people to come together and bring their expertise, because it isn't a one size fits all approach with health. And it definitely isn't even a one size fits all approach with nutrition, as you know, Zara. I mean, all the time, because of my nutrition background, I get people saying like, oh, what's the secret,
Yeah.
And I always say to people, what the secret is, that what Joe down the street is doing is probably not what you need to be doing. Really. I mean, it's so individualized, and working with someone that, like exactly what you're talking about, wants to get down to the root causes and really get to know you, not just on a nutritional lifestyle level, but also, like you said, on a social level, a psychological level. I worked one-on-one with clients for a while too. And a lot of it's not just about telling people what they should be eating. It's getting to know them and understanding what's getting in their way in other areas of their life. So I'm so happy to hear that you work from that integrative place. Could you share a little bit with us about how you got here, how you got into studying nutrition? Is there a personal story that you have that you could share with us about how you got to where you are.
Yeah, I try to make it brief because it's a long story, but maybe I'll just put the focus on the Gut Loving Dietitian. A couple of years ago, after a few years of working with cancer patients and also a wide range of other diseases, I realized that gut issues are very common among all different diagnoses and also with various treatments. I think all of the different experiences, both in the hospital settings and the private practice world, really led me to the gut. And I just found it so fascinating that even people without gut diseases often had gut issues. So just to give you an example, in working with cancer patients, I realized that it didn't really matter where the tumor was. All patients experience some sort of gut complications. And considering the stats, like 1 out of 2 Canadians get a diagnosis of cancer in their lifetime, and especially when it comes to our gut, bowel cancer is actually the 3rd biggest cancer killer in the world. So I started thinking about how to manage the gut symptoms, but also, and even more important than that, how can we prevent the general population from getting there? Because these stats are very scary. I think it is so important that we talk about it, knowing that a lot of people, when they start to see changes, let's say in their stool, just to give you an example, they're embarrassed to go to their clinician, and then they wait until it gets late. It gets really bad. If people catch their bowel cancer quite early, then they've got relatively better success rates. And as I mentioned, even more important than that, taking preventative measures. Like for me, watching these individuals suffering through surgery, chemo, radiation, and working as a clinical dietitian, these patients were coming to me saying, I've got a lot of gut issues, like when the tumor wasn't really in their digestive system. I knew that if I was really going to have an impact on people's health and well-being, it was going to be the gut. I'm not like disregarding all the other amazing aspects of that health, but just to getting focused in this area. So I decided to dig deeper and did my own research, started implementing a range of different diet-based therapies that target gut health. And I was amazed by the results in patients. And I also had experience working in research lab in the past and learning about gut health, which opened my eyes to a whole new world of human microbiome and the importance of gut health. And as you all probably know, that we have trillions of microorganisms, including mostly bacteria, but like things like parasites, viruses, which actually synergistically work together to have a benefit. Today, we know our gut health is literally connected to not only our physical health, but also our mental health. We see those with better gut health experience less anxiety and less depression. Tammy, you may have seen that in your practices. So you, Sarah, we've known about this relationship between the gut and the brain for ages. Like if you've ever felt butterflies in your stomach, then you've felt the effects of the gut-brain connection. It's millions of nerves and neurons run between gut and brain. The brain sends signals to the gut, and the gut sends nerve signals back. Each affects what the other one does. So I've also, like at Inspire, I've been involved in translating research into a more accessible format. When I started explaining these findings to whether my patients, sometimes to friends and family members, I just realized people didn't know some of the basics, and they wanted to make a change. They wanted to improve their health. They just didn't know where to start. So I think sometimes as clinicians, we forget that not all that knowledge is available to the public. Then I thought that I wasn't really sharing all the amazing stuff being done in the clinical and research world. So in a way, I felt it was my duty to get out there, get involved in the community, become vocal on social media to hopefully help those who are struggling find long-lasting relief from their oftentimes debilitating symptoms, but again, hopefully preventative measures. So that was the birth of the Gut Loving Dietitian. And right now I witness transformative power that a happy gut brings.
That's so awesome. I love that.
It's phenomenal.
You know, I think I can relate a lot to what you said about, you know, reminding us as kind of clinicians or practitioners to kind of go back to, you know, remembering that, you know, often the people we're working with, they don't have, that's why they're coming to see us. You know, they don't, but it's easy, like you say, to get wrapped up in that environment of working with other professionals, and we forget that, our clients just want us to go back to the basics and understand. And the basics can be so simple actually to implement, and then people get these incredible results. I mean, I know for me sometimes, the smallest thing, whether it's in my telework practice or even working with people with nutrition or giving advice that way, it seems so simple, but for some people it just changes their lives so dramatically. And
it is so true. I think we assume that everyone knows, like, if I don't know, maybe all like IT people assume that everyone knows about computers, but like they tell me, oh, turn it on and off, and I'm like, wow, miracle.
Right? Yeah, I know. Exactly.
It's so true. It's like the fundamental.
Yeah, very fundamental. And what you're bringing out to the world and what it is that you're teaching and showing should be fundamental. The preventative side of medicine should be our first approach, our main approach. I totally believe that. Absolutely. And
why should we wait?
Why wait?
No, exactly.
Why wait?
Stop
Zara,
thinking about the Band-Aid approach, but this is so great. Amazing.
I so appreciate everything that you've shared, and I think it really brings to the forefront. I think on some level we know that we need to be making our gut health a priority, but just even listening to what you've shared thus far, it's like, wow, it's really put it in perspective as to how important that is. And it's not something that should be, when I have time or when I have more time to read up on these things. I think it's really important for us to honor how connected our gut health is and to our brain function as well as to our emotions. And especially right now more than ever with the clients that I'm meeting, it's quite often that people are like, oh, the seasonal effects and the weather change. Well, that's probably the most ideal time to then be more proactive with our diet, because we know that we have a tendency, to be susceptible to seasonal effects and those kinds of things. So I really appreciate what you're sharing. And it's really so hitting home.
Yeah, I relate to that, Lindsay. The other day, I was talking to a colleague of mine. So at work, we have physicians, counselors, exercise therapists. So we have the opportunity to get together and talk about all sorts of things. We also try to have this holistic approach, and I'm excited to have that in this community, in the Okanagan. But someone was talking about, soon chronic diseases will become a matter of choice versus destiny of our genes. And I thought, I agree with that. Of course, to a certain extent, meaning that if we bring more awareness as clinicians and pave the way for personalized, customized, not only nutrition care, but holistic care, then people will be empowered and prepared to make the right choice for themselves, their children. Absolutely. I know one of the wonderful guests that you had here, like she had a heart for children and their families. I don't think chronic diseases will go away anytime soon, since we will have a choice, but at least we will be able to make a decision to choose certain foods, certain lifestyles, or not. I think.
Right. Yeah. Making empowered decisions. I think, that's very, very important. And you do need a whole team to be able to do that. So I think it's really exciting that you get to work with other professionals. Zara, I want to ask you, we're talking about being supportive, of our community and our clients. And I also, we think of support and inclusivity and collaboration when we think about the Good Place Collective. And I'm really curious to hear your perspective on what an inclusive environment looks like to you. How would you define that?
So holding space for diversity. And I think the first step towards creating an inclusive environment is to recognize that we are all diverse. And the goal is to create an environment where my diversity is not held against me, that we're all different, and we want to get to an inclusive environment where I am valued, you are valued, I am respected, you're respected, and that we can be our authentic selves. We all want to be treated with dignity and respect, and have to do that with understanding of where people are at. And we can only do that by having those collective engagements and listening to one another and holding space for our differences. I really believe the listening part is very important to create an inclusive environment, because it helps us to feel that we belong if we know that we are being heard. Sarah, I read something really beautiful this morning. I don't know if you have time to read that. It was from, what was the center's name? It was from the Center of Gratitude. Do you mind?
Okay.
I won't read the whole thing, But
Sure. Yeah. You know, we've got like
that.
1 minute, and then
Okay.
and then we'll have to wrap up. But yeah, like give us the pulse notes for sure.
This is just so beautiful, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. So
I love that.
let me just very quickly, I'll bring it up here. Yeah. So it says, every act of listening is an act of gratitude that affirms the life vibrating within and around us. When we make ourselves available to receive the voices of our hearts, the people in our lives, our communities, the earth and all its inhabitants, and the cosmos, we honor the waves of mystery and the wisdom therein that connects all of existence. Listening asks that we surrender ourselves not only to the other, but to the collective whole, and so serves as the bedrock of belonging, healing, and ultimately peace. From this place, we can deepen our relationship with ourselves, others, and the world as a whole. Even in the face of difficulty, misunderstanding, complexity, pain, and the unknown, our experiences can feel expansive rather than constricting. If we lean in and listen with curiosity, care, and compassion. And here's my favorite part. In doing so, we join an emergent song in which the voices of many contribute to an ever-evolving whole, allowing for dissonance even in the pursuit of harmony as we seek to remember and revere the essence that joins us all.
Beautiful. Wow.
Beautiful. Thank you
so
so much for
beautiful.
sharing that, Zara.
I just felt that sums it up.
Yeah,
It really
that's
does.
fantastic.
You're absolutely right about
That's
that.
so incredible.
Yeah. Thank you
my
so much
gosh.
for sharing that with us today, and everybody else. I thank you so much.
Absolutely. Zara, it's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you. And thank you so much for taking the time to share with us this morning. And, you know, it's so beautiful to have a glimpse of other professionals that we get to, you know, embrace in the collective and get to know better and find creative ways to support one another and collaborate with one another. Do you want to share with the group the best way that we can connect with you? Where do we find you? How can we, you know, shoot you a message and start a conversation?
Yeah, for sure. All the joy and honor is mine. Like, I think the feeling is mutual. I'm so glad that I got to connect with you. So people can email me directly at gutlovingdietitian@gmail.com, or they can send me a direct message on the website. So it's www.gutlovingdietitian.com, or they can message me on Instagram at the Gut Loving Dietitian. So either of those would work. Well, all three options. Yeah, whatever.
Fantastic.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Zara.
Thank you.
We so appreciate
Thank you, Zara, so much.
Have a wonderful day.
Welcome.
And thank you to everybody who tuned in with us today. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you next time.
Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
Bye.